You all seem to enjoy these sorts of videos where we take a look at how Manchester United's lineup could be next season. We add some new signings in and then we discuss, the strengths and the weaknesses. I've already done my perfect summer. I've already done what I feel will be Ten Hag's perfect summer. But with the way things are going, maybe things won't be perfect. Well, that's kind of how it works for United in the transfer window. So what I'm going to do in this video is maybe take a look at a more realistic perspective. What happens if we signed Costa or Onana as a new goalkeeper, Mason Mount as our main central midfield signing, and Rasmus Hojlund as our striker? What strengths would that bring? What weaknesses would still exist? That's what I'm going to run through in this video. So please, if you do enjoy it, please drop a like on it. Give me 10 minutes of your time and let's run through it. Now, first thing I want to take a look at are the two videos that I've done previously. Number one, what my perfect summer was, which is never going to happen. It was never going to happen anyway, but it's definitely not going to happen now. Harry Kane, that's off the cards. Kim Min-jae looks like he's going to Bayern Munich. Verbruggen, well, the reason that Verbruggen was there was because I didn't think we were going to sign a number one, so that's actually improved. Lavia looks like he's going to be going towards Arsenal. Caicedo looking far more likely at Chelsea. So not much of that has gone particularly right. What I had down in terms of Ten Hag's perfect summer, two strikers, a main experienced striker with the backup. I went for Kane and Hojlund in that respect. I had Casemiro in there. I had Mason Mount in there. I had Kim in there. I also had Verbruggen in there. So some similarities. Now, of course, things have changed. So what I'm going to do now in this video, we'll run through it all again because the Harry Kane situation has kind of transformed where the budget's going to be going. And now means that a conversation is to be had around Diogo Costa and Andre Onana, which I didn't think that we would be having this summer. I always felt like it would have been an ideal situation, but because we were spending so much on Kane, I didn't think we'd had the funds for it. Out of the two, which one would you choose in the comments? Onana, of course, is somebody who Ten Hag knows well from his time at Ajax. Somebody who you watch in the Champions League final. The dude's supremely confident under pressure, and there are so many characteristics of Ten Hag's game, De Gea's game, where he is significantly better. And the same can be said for Diogo Costa. So for all intents and purposes for this video, I'm actually going to go for Diogo Costa. Right? So for a lot of United fans, he would be that number one choice. And we go over here and we add him in to this team. Right, let's pull that nice and full screen here. This will be a nice interactive one where we take a look at the tactics and we see where the strengths and the weaknesses still lie. Now, Diogo Costa coming in. Now, a lot of this logic can also apply if you put Onana's name in there. But I'm going for Costa. You can let me know what you think in the comments. The first thing you can do with Costa is play it out from the back with the ball. You're going to have a man who's supremely confident with the ball at his feet. Now, I don't actually think United fans have given it, not all United fans, some have given it enough thought about how much of a difference it's going to make having a goalkeeper that is that confident with the ball at his feet. It really is going to transform how we play out from the back. And it's also going to transform this. I guarantee you, at the end of next season, if you were then going to compare where Manchester United's defensive line is, it's going to be significantly higher as a consequence of having Costa or Onana. Because you've got a goalkeeper here, right, who is really confident at sweeping this area. David De Gea is a goalkeeper that he's stuck in his box. He's on his line. He's not somebody who comes and commands crosses. He's not somebody who comes and commands his box. He's not somebody who... De Gea wasn't ever too bad at one-on-one situations. Occasionally. But I think you can say the same thing about every goalkeeper. But Costa, more importantly, will be able to command this area. If balls go over the top because we're playing a high line, Costa... It's not just about being the Manuel Neuer sweeper keeper. It's an element. But he is a man who will command that space. Will allow the defence to play a higher line. Will play out from the back with the ball. Will be able to deal with the pressure. So, I'll be honest, I don't mind which. Because both Onana and Costa are significant upgrades. And if we sign one, I didn't think we would in my perfect summer. I didn't think we would in Ten Hag's perfect summer. But because Harry Kane's off the cards, we've now got a conversation to be had. And I think it will make such a big difference. If we're looking down here, let's add some substitutes in as well. As substitute, you're probably going to be going for Tom Heaton, right? Tom Heaton is the backup goalkeeper. That is a significant upgrade on what we've currently got. Now, a lot of these positions are kind of already done. You've got Luke Shaw there. You've obviously got Licha. You've got Martinez there. Let me go full screen here so you don't need to see my face. Let's pull that over there. You've got Varane here. Now, of course, because we don't have Kim coming in now, it's not really a conversation to be had about who should be that starter there. Because if we had Kim, you can have a conversation around it. And in terms of backups, you've got Malacia there for Luke Shaw. You've got Lindelof there. Now, this is definitely where a weakness exists because we're going to hopefully be selling Maguire. I don't know who that backup right back is now. I'm going to leave that empty for the time being. I want you to let me know in the comments because it looks like Kim's gone. Looks like Timber might be going towards Arsenal from Ajax. As it stands, it's not a big priority. I think that's why we never really went aggressively for Min-Jae, despite the fact that we knew that release clause was there. And of course, for Wan-Bissaka, we've got Delo backing him up there. But signing either of these two would immeasurably improve our playing out from the back with the ball. And signing Mason Mount might not be high up on your list, right? As a fan, you might think there's so many other areas where United can invest. But for Erik ten Hag, it's clear that Mason Mount would be a massive signing for him. And I'm still yet to do that video where I'm going to run through the tactical switches that I think are going to happen this season. But to explain it briefly one more time, I think we're going to move away from having a yellow circle. Move away from having two central midfielders there with a number 10 towards having two number 8s and one kind of number 6. And what you'll see here as well by playing this higher line, I've said this before, but look how much smaller that space is that Casemiro's then got to control. Because you're making the pitch smaller by giving that whole area to your goalkeeper. That's the confidence, and that's what happens. You can just be more proactive. You can step up higher. You can be on the front foot with a goalkeeper that you know behind you is going to cover all that space, even if the ball's coming over the top, even if he's under pressure. He'll be able to handle all of that in a way that De Gea cannot in the modern game. But because of these two number 8s there, it's quite simple. I'm not saying that you would take Eriksen out of the team completely. But Mason Mount going there, that's where you're going to get the more of an aggressive front press. Eriksen can't play that role. He played the role quite well alongside Casemiro, but next season I see Eriksen being used pretty much how we thought he would be used when we signed him. Somebody who's going to more play 20, 30 minutes of games and help us control and see out the end of the games rather than starting every single game. But Mason Mount coming in, I've already done a kind of a semi-tactics video on Mason Mount, how he fits in at Manchester United. I can go more in-depth on it, but he will be playing that aggressive front press. He'll be squeezing these half spaces here. He'll be doubling up with Rashford or whoever our striker is. I'll speak about Hojlund in a minute. He's going to be proactive off the ball and try and help with the creativity on it. He's kind of an all-round midfielder, not somebody who I think massively moves the needle, but in terms of a profile for what Ten Hag's going for in the system, I can see it suiting well. In terms of his backups, as it stands, you would probably say that Fred will be the alternative there. You would go back here, and again, as it stands, with the current players we've got in this squad, you would probably go Casemiro, and you would say McTominay. And over here with Bruno, who's the opposite there? You got Eriksen there, right? Of course, that doesn't include Kobe Mania or anything like that. But you can see what I think there are still weaknesses. Quite a few weaknesses. I would say there's a weakness here in Casemiro's backup. I would say there's a weakness there in the right centre-back. I'd say pretty much defensively we're all right past that point. But I'd say they're two fundamental weaknesses that still exist in this team, even after you sign someone like Costa or Onana and you sign someone like Mason Mount. And of course, there's a big weakness up front, and that's where we talk about Hojlund. Now, at the prices getting quoted, it's absolutely madness, right? It really is. What is it, 80 million they're trying to say for Hojlund? A 20-year-old who's just had like a developing breakthrough season. There's no way that he's involved in that conversation. But, hey, look, you wanted the... This is what happens when you invite states into football. And that's always been part of the reason why I've just been so diametrically opposed to it and why I've argued against it. Moneyball. It's not football anymore. It's Moneyball. I mean, it always kind of been going there since the Premier League and Sky came in. But this is like the version 2 of it, which is looking even crazier. But 80 million they're asking for him. And in terms of up front, you can go Rashford on there with Garnacho on the left. And I'm just going to put Sancho out here on the right-hand side. No Ahmad there. Of course, there's more subs you can add in. But Hojlund, does he move the needle and what does he change in terms of this team up front? Put Martial down there. I don't know whether Martial's going to be here at the end of the summer. But Hojlund certainly adds something. He's played in an Atalanta system he's played with 3 at the back. He's played with wing backs. If we would take a look at this, right? Let's have a look at his heat map from last season. I think this is quite telling. We go up here and we see his heat map from last season with Atalanta. You can see how deep he did drop. He's not somebody who really is going to be holding his position inside the box in terms of his natural playing style of what he's done so far. I would personally say that there is still quite a big weakness. I don't think that completely transforms Manchester United's attacking options. Is Rasmus Hojlund an exciting development prospect? Yes, he is. Could he score 20 goals next year? Yes, he could. Would I bet on it? No, I wouldn't. He's a completely unknown entity, but he's not somebody who gives you the guarantees that Harry Kane would. So I would still want Manchester United to be signing a second striker, right? We'd still need that. And you know what I think about Marcus Thuram? I think that would be a perfect. I still think we need somebody as a Casemiro alternative. I still think we need somebody as a right centre-back alternative. So that's 3 more signings that I would ideally probably make. And then in a dream world, I'd probably switch Fred for Caicedo. In a dream world. But what do you think about that lineup there for Manchester United? Do you think that's significantly better? Costa, or Onana, doesn't really matter. You're playing with a much higher line. You're going to see the average position. Maybe Costa will just hang on the edge of his box. You'll see Man United adopt a far more modern style of football. And we need it. And Ten Hag's style needs it. In midfield, Mason Mount, you will see Mount and Bruno would be relentless together. They really, really would. Probably be wasps. And that will add something to our front press, which is a Ten Hag characteristic. Still doesn't change and move the needle completely. I still think we need another midfielder in there. But it's improving it. And Hojlund definitely improves it. But in my opinion, isn't quite enough. So I think while signing those 3 players, Costa, Hojlund and Mount, would improve Manchester United, I think there would still be quite a few fundamental weaknesses that I think we'd still need to address with new signings. And as I said, I think that's another striker. Probably an alternative to Casemiro. Not necessarily a back. Romeo Lavia was my perfect one, but I think he's going to Arsenal. An alternative to Varane. If that's not going to be Kim, if that's not going to be Timber, maybe it'll be Todibo from Nice. Maybe it'll be Disasi from Monaco. There's other French centre-backs we linked with. And I think we need another powerful midfielder in there. You let me know what you think about that. About the strengths of that team there and the weaknesses it still possesses. I like doing these videos. I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure you drop a like on the video. And what I will say here is apologise if my camera's shaking a little bit. I think I've broken the mount. I need to get one sorted. But big up to everyone who's watching.